Hey everyone, welcome to the Dojo Kun Shill Shack, episode 31. And we've got a great show for you today. A lot of creators on here with us. And my guest co-host this week is Elliott Rodriguez. How are you, Elliott?
Hey, what's going on? Good to see you, Brian.
Everyone.
What's going on, everybody?
With us today. Let's say hi to the chat. We got somebody in there already. We've got the most fun,
everybody in the chat. What's going on?
The fun name to say, of course, is Tentacle Pentacle. So with us today, we have the folks putting together Frog G, Voodoo Gods and Magic, and the creator of Death. Why 3 times? Because why not? Let's bring him on in. Yeah. So we have with us Jason Bascom. Hi, Jason. Thanks for joining us.
And welcome. Hey, Tentacle Pentacle. I haven't seen Tentacle Pentacle in a while. It's good to see him.
Yeah. And we've also got Nicholas Gear with us today.
Ooh,
How you doing, Nicholas? Thank you for being here.
Nicholas? What's going on, man?
On the panel with us is Ink Spots, colorist extraordinaire. How you doing, Ink?
Good.
Thanks for being here. And while we were showing the intro, Joe managed to jump in here. How you doing, Joe?
Hey, what's up, fellers? Jason, Elliott, Dojo, Ink Spots. What's up, my guy?
Good to see you, Joe.
Thank you.
We are ready to talk some 300-page plus death.
Pure insanity.
Yeah, right.
I work in numbers for a reason, and eventually when people get the book, they'll be like, this is just riddled in symbology from page count to the way he arranges things. It's just I try to work it into every little piece of it, even simple things like page count. I don't know about cards, like stock on paper. I may not.
It's a good thing that your book's not very detailed. So
it leaves room for all these other little
right. Yeah, he skips all the corners and everything so he can get to the number. So are you saying that it's numerology or symbology?
It's symbology. Numerology would mean more like I'm trying to cause something to happen through it, where I'm not. It's just there as part of the theme of the biblical lore side of it. So it's sacred and holy numbers and sacred geometry and things like that. Like there's a lot of stuff that originally was part of some of the oldest texts known of mankind, like stuff Abraham wrote about. And then it all got hijacked by Egyptians and other people down the road and worked into occult stuff. So in a way, I'm trying to take things back that never belonged to the occult and spin them back into their proper place. The Lord invented triangles, not the devil. I hate to break it to him.
Right.
He invented eyeballs, not the devil. So I'll make good use of that stuff to the maximum.
Well, you know what? Since we're on this subject, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up Death. So let me go over to that site, and you can direct me on, where you'd like me to scroll and tell us about this project.
Well, you can just scroll to however you like as you go. It's not super important where I'm, what I'm saying in terms of the book itself by the pictures there. But it's basically it's a survival family story mixed with a war story. So the setting is a different planet where God put some of the things too big and too consuming for Earth. So things that are like dinosaur-esque, but they're not literally dinosaurs, just big creatures, big things that we kind of don't see amongst us at this point. And that's where the bulk of the story takes place. You have 3 different groups of people, creatures, however you want to describe it, fighting over that same spot. And it all revolves, basically those are the circumstances that revolve around the survival tale of the family unit. So the overarching story is a mother, a father, and a child trying to get by in a world where like basically nothing's easy, nothing's nice. Like you just got to struggle every day, day in and day out. So.
Wow. Okay. And I see here that you've got gallery art with graphics and color by Jarreau.
Yeah, he did the picture you're looking at there. So I did the artwork on it, but he did all the color and the graphic design and the lettering on it. It was like a favor for me, I guess you could say. I didn't ask him, but he did it, and I was so happy he did it. I tried to pay him, and he wouldn't take money. So I was just like, that's fine. I'll keep the money. I'm not going to force it on you.
Yeah, I wouldn't kick and scream about it. Yeah.
Twist his arm. Yeah, right. But yeah, I'm glad to say that he has submitted a piece for the Projectile Reptile fan art contest. So I'm sure everybody's looking forward to seeing that. We've got some submissions already, looking for some more.
He's an excellent artist. Like the guy just knows how to make something look like an animated, like the most highest quality animated film, but on a page. It's almost like he's just taking cell animation and transferring it to the page. I absolutely love his work.
Great. Good to hear. This, of course, is your work, right? We were joking about the detail. I mean, look at this. Even the background. This, for example, you're depicting, is this rain here?
It's just the streaks of the speed to show him landing and crashing.
Speed lines. Okay. Yeah.
And because it's nighttime, sometimes if there's nothing to jazz a panel up with lighting wise, like if the normal moonlight wouldn't make sense because he's in movement and I already put all the streak lines there, I'll just light up the streak lines a little bit to imply it. So there's some things that don't make literal sense, but they're aesthetically pleasing. So
yeah, it's a visual medium, so it's awesome. Now, is it in color or black and white?
Both. It's there's 3 options. There is 2 7x10 options. Those are kind of like your American typical graphic novel scale.
Okay.
They're both in hardback, and those are a color and a line art version. So the color version is just fully rendered. The line art version is just the scanned pages with any corrections that need done. There's no color whatsoever, and then it's lettered. And then we have a manga version, which is all grayscaled, and it is in the 5x7.5 like digest size. So it'll still fit alongside all your other, like your typical manga you'd get at Barnes & Noble or somewhere that's not in an oversized format.
Okay. All right. I was just checking the chat to see if Mo is here and if he'd like reach out and choke me somehow, but no, he's not here right now. Because you said the word manga.
Yeah. Well, what's he say? Does he say manga?
No. He says it correctly. He just never wants to hear it.
Oh, well, I got some bad news for him. That's kind of globally all anybody cares about, but
no, I hear you. Yeah, he has fun with it in the chat.
Yeah, Mo's a good dude. I like Mo.
Yep. So
but yeah, the character you're seeing crashing there, though, that's the father figure in the book. So when I talk about family, this family looks monstrous. They're not picket fences and suburbia like we, like your nuclear family you think of here in America. They're giant creatures. They're huge. So as you can see by the trees beside him, the tops of a normal tree go to his head when he's squatted down. So they're incredibly huge. It's a world filled with huge, monstrous things, but there are also some human scaled characters. So that's where you kind of get a little bit more of the scale of the world as well.
Okay. And these monsters, this father here, and then his assumably wife and son, are
actually it's a daughter. Sorry, I about forgot to mention that.
What's that?
It's a daughter, actually. I just said yes on instinct, nice. But yes, it's.
Okay.
Well, I have daughters, so that's why I went with that. I have 2 girls, so I figured he could have 2 girls as well. Well, 1 to begin with. We'll get more kids in the future of the book.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is that this family, then, this nuclear family you've got set up, are facing constant, peril and struggle and all that, like you said. So even these monsters that are on a monstrous scale still have man against nature, man against each other, that kind of thing to deal with.
Yeah. Well, they're outcast from their original tribe. So from the only thing they knew was kind of a chaotic environment to begin with. Savage creatures that are, brutal in the way they live life, because it's a very much like, a dog eat dog survival back in nature world that they come from.
Okay.
So they're not introduced to technology till later in the book, before you start to get guns and mech and all that kind of stuff. But initially, that's the only thing they know is, rubbing two sticks together to make fire, that kind of lifestyle.
Gotcha.
So,
will we see how or why they get exiled?
Yeah, it'll get explained. I'm not going
Okay.
to give away too much of that right now,
Oh,
because
no,
I've
no.
already publicly released like 34 pages from the book.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of them right here, even.
Yeah, well, when you got a 300-page book, you can kind of keep it fresh with people and get them re-excited with some new artwork. You don't have to recycle like the same 2 or 3 pages. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've still recycled those same 30 pages 100 times, but
Okay.
it gives me a chance to mix it up a little bit,
Right. Yeah, it looks fantastic. When are you talking about closing the campaign?
I'm thinking about closing it out around October, but at the same time, I might leave it open for after sales. I haven't 100% decided. What I might do is just put any extra copies in the Etsy shop, and people can buy them that way. So, because I'd like to have it closed before we launch Swarm, which is our hero book from King Toad. So I don't want I just want to be able to focus on Swarm when that time comes, and not have like this hovering over my back, just knowing that I'm in fulfillment now, like print and fulfillment. So
yeah, that's a good plan. So this is the image then that Jaro used behind the words "death, death, death," right? This image here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that was like I was feeling my inner Akira Toriyama one night, when I was kind of putting this book together years ago, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do kind of a what if picture with Death, 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 but more like inspired by the original things that made me kind of come up with the idea. So I went a little bit more animated, a little bit more toy line with the aesthetic, and totally copycatted Toriyama style for it on purpose. And it's surprisingly, it's like one of the most popular images from the book. At some point, I'm going to have to do a book like that, because the demand is too big not to, and it's cool that people like it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is really sharp. Ooh, I love this image. I've seen this one before, but this is awesome. Oh, I just now that I've magnified it, I just now saw that there's things going on in the eyes too.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of eye symbology, and I don't even know why I say symbology, because that makes it sound like it's like a mystery or something you have to understand or look into to get the relevance of. It's pretty obvious when I use it. I have people's eyeballs literally just falling out of their heads. Like it's not sugar coated really. There's just giant eyeballs all over the place. But I mean, part of the Bible lore is what's his name? There was a certain angel. Can't believe Metatron. Like his original Hebrew descriptions was an angel made completely out of an eye and a tongue for every person that's ever lived. He's just a gigantic creature made out of eyes and tongues. So, like things like that I get into, and I just put eyeballs any place I can possibly find a reason to use them. Wow, it's going to get cliche after a while. I feel like by book 3, people are going to be like, all right, we get it. Eyeballs.
I can never get sick of eyeballs, man. I love eyeballs.
Great. I like to hear that, Jake. Yeah. You're affirming my ideas, and I like that.
Yes, keep at it.
Nice. If I may, Joe, I had a couple of questions. Is there a certain symbology or something with the design of the characters themselves? Is there what influenced their designs? Is there? It's
a mishmash of things, but like once I kind of explain it out, usually people can see it a little bit more. But it's a mix of like. I grew up on 80s toys, as most of us did. I love toy lines. That's probably my most favorite thing collectively or pop culture wise are toys. And we've all seen the like Japanese toy packaging from the 70s and 80s where you would have like an image on the back of like, let's say a mech or a Godzilla or something like that. And it would have like a split screen effect. So you saw the normal side of what it looked like mechanized or clothed or skin. And on the other side, you would see the insides, all the gears and the parts. And I had always thought to myself, because I'm a huge Evangelion fan, that what if Transformers origins were actually that they were at one point organic inside, that they didn't start as machines from the ground up. They started as something organic, because I wanted to be able to have robots that bled like red blood and had organs and things like that. Because there's a way bigger emphasis when you see a robot take a stab wound and it's like a blood pinata, like it just sprays out of them for a minute. It's really cool looking. So I was looking at those half and half images on a lot of Japanese toy art, and I thought, I know what I want. I want a robot that bleeds. Nice. So I thought that will be the origin point before they're mechs. They will kind of look like these inside out people that have like bones growing out of them and in a red skin tone that implies like muscular on the outside, even though it's just their skin color. And it was just a kind of everything derives from toy lines or something from Japan. So that's kind of like the beginning points, was just being like, I want to know what these things would look like on the inside if they were originally organic and then made into mech later on down the road.
Cool concept.
Hey, that's dope. I like that. I had another question. Is the 300 page count, is that going to be strictly 300 pages? Like how open are you, for example, like if you're like in page 275, 290, and then you feel like maybe you can add 4 more pages or 6 more pages? Are you going to flexible with that, or is that strictly 300 and then?
That's strictly for interior story. So there will be more than 300, but that's like my cutoff point on actual story. Like because I've had a few spots as I'm working on it where I'm like, this needs like another 2 or 3 pages. Like I couldn't quite fit what I wanted to fit into like how I averaged this out in my head. Because what I would do is lay out, you do all your typical stuff, your outline, your beats that you're going for, and then you get more detailed with that and the filler and the things that connect it together, and then you can kind of average it out in your head. Like this will eat up about 6 pages, this will eat up about 5 pages, right? But you get the points where things either shrink or they excel. So what I did was I made a rule for myself that if I wanted to extend something, I had to cut something somewhere else. So I will look over the story and I will kind of look ahead and refresh myself with what I haven't got to yet, like that's just written word, and I will make sure how important it is. So if there's something where I'm like, this isn't important enough to justify 5 pages, we can squeeze it into 3, all the same. And then that will free up 2 pages for me to use earlier in the book or something like that. So I manipulate things a little bit like that, but I can't put anything else on this one because it'll just get out of hand and I'll never get it finished.
Speaking of which, how far are you?
I'm a little above 200 right now. I'm around 225. I still have about 75 pages to draw. Like I've got them like, roughed out. They're not like that. They're a bunch of scribbles and panels, but I've still got a hefty amount to actually draw. I haven't even looked at my color count in a little bit. I need to check that out. But coloring and lettering's all moving along too. It's obviously not as far as the actual line art, but that's because the line art's what gets the most attention right now, just because I need that out of my way so that I can focus on the other things without being in a panic. So
you're doing all of it, right? You're doing the coloring and the lettering too on the interior pages? Yeah. Yep.
I thought about having some other people do some stuff, but ultimately the only reason I can offer it at these prices is because there's no labor cost.
Right.
The only person I have to pay for labor is my editor, and sometimes he doesn't even ask for money either because he's my friend. So I almost have to force money on him. But with this book, the only reason I can offer it at the same price as like a Cyber Frog hardback with equal page count is because, like in Ethan's case, it's all reprints of old books, so there's no labor cost involved. It's just getting the pages cleaned up and refined. So there might be a little bit in terms of like what he pays Kyle, but it's work that's already done. It's in the can. Mm-hmm. So that's the one advantage I have here is I'm doing everything myself, which is hard and time consuming, but it's exactly what I want, and I don't have to give anybody else money unless I'm hiring them in for a splash page or a gallery spot, because I have chapter breakups too. So I've brought in a handful of people to do some artwork on the chapter breakup images.
Oh, nice. That's cool to get somebody else involved too that way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, speaking of the price points, why don't we have a look at the tiers? We'll drag it back up to the top here. So your featured tier is the color, line art, and manga 3-pack. So you get all three of the examples you were talking about earlier.
Yep. You catch a little price break with that one. They're each probably like $5 to $10 cheaper than if you bought them separate.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's still a crazy deal for what, 900 pages?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
they're all
ridiculous,
different in
dude.
their own way. They each have a different tone.
that's
You know, the
insane.
color one is a different tone than the line art,
Yeah.
and the line art's a different tone than the grayscale. So, and the lettering's even different on the manga because you've got a different kind of space you have to work with. So you have to make the letters bigger, and you have to place them differently. So all three will be different, even though they're all the same book. There's just things that work in color that don't work over in the line art, and there's things that work on the line art that don't work on the grayscale. So you have to adjust for all three of them.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome. That's a lot. It's a monumental task, and it's really cool that you're doing it because it's really inspiring. Really good stuff, man.
Well, the good thing with the grayscale is I can take a color page, just run it through a black and white filter, maybe put a few tweaks on it, not much. It almost comes out perfectly balanced because the color's already balanced. So when you run it through a black and white filter, it gives you an exact balanced grayscaled image. So the one advantage I do have there is I don't have to literally go through and grayscale everything. I just do an alternate version of the color page, and I just have to letter it differently so that it fits the scale of the 5 by 7.5, so that it's readable and not so tiny that you can't read it.
You know, hearing you discuss these three different, formats for the book, if you will, I see pros and cons to each one of them. I don't remember which one I picked. I gotta go have a look because they all sound great. It's like I know I picked one, but I don't remember what my reasoning was.
I mean, I think the most right now is the color version. So that's the one most people have been jumping on because it's kind of like the closest to like my full mental image of how these things would look.
But 78 people did get the line art hardcover. That's good.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I'm gonna enjoy like studying all of the art that's in there, especially that 2-page spread, that double-page spread you posted recently. Insane work. Really good stuff.
With the giant head chamber on it.
Yeah. Great stuff, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's where the I guess you could say like the human battery that fuels everything in the world. That's where he resides at. He's in this head chamber down in the below underground in the city. So you'll see more about that too when that time comes. I don't want to give too much away, but that'll be more dramatic when we get there, when it gets to full on war. So
color edition 7x10 hard. I think this is the one I got. I'm not sure, but I think this is the one. And this is the one you're saying, the most people have claimed, 261 people.
Well, plus I have to count all the 3-packs because every 3-pack's another copy of each one sold. So like
that's right.
The numbers have added up on some things like the side stuff, like the original art tiers or sketch card tiers. They all come with books too, but they're not nearly as dramatic as the regular tiers. So.
Oh, plus you've got a 2-pack.
Yeah, there's a 2-pack for people that just want, Western styled formats that have no interest in manga, just so they have that option if they desire.
And then you've got sketch cards by Passion for Drawing. Oh, okay.
Nice. Yep, you get a hardback color version signed with those as well. Hence why they seem a little expensive. They only allow you so much words for the title.
Yeah.
So
I know
trying to put a description of the item in, it gets a little tough. So it's like I keep running out of letters.
It drives me crazy when I'm trying to do that because I'm very wordy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a writer. #just a writer. So I want to be as descriptive as possible. And there are times where you can't, Brian. You just have to abbreviate.
You have to hope they click that description and just read.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did some sketch cards too, but those already sold out. But I don't know. I might do some more later. I'm really trying not to pile anything extra on my plate. I know people are like, well, it's just a couple of sketch cards. It's like, yeah, but I'm doing work for like 3 other people plus my book. Everything is just more work. It doesn't matter how minute or small it is. It's just one
Right.
more thing on the plate to have to deal with. So at some point, I have to limit what I do. Just let someone else do it.
Nice.
That's like a grayscale page there. That's like
Yeah.
what the manga will look like.
This one here on the left?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was intently reading this one here with you've got 5 out of 30 pages claimed. In addition to the original art page, which is 11 by 17, you also get the 3-pack basically. Now, tell us about the selection of the pages. Like, is it first come gets the first pick of the 30, or how does that work?
Yeah, first come, first serve. What I'll do is I'll send out thumbnail images of the entire book to those backers. I'll start with the first backer, and then I'll just start Xing out pages that are already claimed, and then each person up will get their choice pick of what's left. There's 300 pages, so it's not like they're having to settle. There's an endless amount of possibilities for what they might want or what they might like. And there's even 2 pages like I ruined, so they're already out of the running. But the majority of it's fine. Well, I tried to get fancy pants one night and do a correction, and then I realized it wasn't necessary after I'd already fucked the whole page up. So I was like, oh well, who gives a shit? I got the scan, I got what I need. I don't even care. So it's just paper to me after a while. It's just stuff in my way.
Is all of the art done traditionally, or some of it also digital?
It's all traditional for the line work. And a lot of the lettering too, I draw it out and then I scan it and play around with placement and things like that. So there's a little bit of digital in terms of the line work, but not much. It's like 99.9% hand drawn.
Wow. That is impressive.
Yeah.
Occasionally there's like some white glows I put on things that I just use white ink and just blend it out into the black, and it does the job. But there were a few spots where once I scanned it, it looked a little choppy, so I smoothed it out a little bit with in Photoshop. But other than that, yeah, everything you're seeing's hand drawn. So I don't even really draw anymore. I just go right to ink. Like I just kind of scribble some stuff out on the page where the placement is and go right to the pens. I don't have time to actually pencil or draw things. Like that's archaic for me at this point. Like I only do that if I absolutely have no choice because it's a sensitive panel that I'm not good enough at an angle or a type of thing to handle that. So occasionally I have to draw things out just for my own sake, but I try to avoid it as much as possible and just go right to ink.
Wow, straight to inks.
Well, we're in an age of really good jelly roll white ink pens. So you just kind of draw, and if you mess up, you just use your white pen to do a little fix and add texture and things like that. So it's not like I don't make mistakes. It's just I don't care if I make mistakes now. I just move ahead and see what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists out there that are so anti like white gel, white out and stuff. They're like, oh, it's like, no, you could do that. There's nothing wrong with using white.
Yeah.
Use white.
Yeah, it's like having a color. Like you're a painter and there's one color you don't use. How silly is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, I was in that boat. Like I was earlier when I first started working. I really hated using white out, but I've seen artists on YouTube and use it and apply it to give different effects for like lighting and things like that. And so I'm opening up more to it. And it's got a lot of uses. Yeah, definitely the Posca pens work great. Yep. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah.
I think the tough thing is so many people start buying different white inks, and you quickly realize most of them suck. And just turn your art to blobby gray spots that you have to find one that it doesn't cover. None of them are going to cover perfect over a bunch of black ink. But what you do is you layer it till it's good enough that you can just scan it and maybe just hit your levels a little bit in Photoshop to get rid of any gray or tacky spots or something. But it's great for getting extra little text. Like, Jason, you know this. You can sit there and get all kinds of cool texturing effects and splatters. Like, why would I draw 1,000 tiny circles and then black around them when I can just make the whole thing black and then use my white pen to just dot in a bunch of little spots?
Exactly.
And you put it in there like it's pointillism. You just hit it with all the dots. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just like pour some white ink on a brush and just go to town.
You use whatever gives you the best result and makes you efficient at the same time. Their artists should never be off bounds to things that make their job easier and gives them a higher quality finished work at the end. So that's why I'm not even like that hard against digital artists. I know they can't draw all those buildings in real life, but they're trying to efficiently work. So they're going to use a tool that just makes buildings for them, and that's fine.
Yeah,
It's not
sure
like they
they-
sugarcoat it or lie. They know we know how they do it. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's an extra
With-
tool.
With Death in demand right now, you have 669 backers. You got
Nice.
52,339. How does that feel? Is this like beyond what you expected?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of I had no expectation of doing any better than 20K just because, like what the averages are and what the realistic chances of things are. But at
Okay.
the same time, like, I know I'm a good artist. So, and I know my story's solid. I know I can make things interesting and visually, like, I know what my worth is. So in all fairness, I expect it to do like, 200 or 300K if I'm living in the fantasy world of how good I am. But if I'm being realistic with myself and saying, Britney Spears can't sing good, but I'll be damned, she sold a lot of albums with her titties. So that's the catch, is you have to be realistic with yourself. Just because something's really good does not mean it's going to sell well, and just because something's really bad does not mean it's going to sell badly. It just depends on how you're selling it. So it does feel good to be at a point where it's gaining some momentum, even if it's a little later down the road that it did so. I'm not going to complain either way. I'm ecstatic no matter what. I'm appreciative for every single backer, and I don't take one dime of that money for granted. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
It's
That's
a
good to
blessing.
hear.
So I just can't wait to get this thing into people's hands so I can
Yeah,
find
I
out if
can't wait
it's
to
as cool
see
as
it.
I think.
One of the things you said as you were describing, knowing your worth, is that your story is solid. And I think that that's the only part that we as backers don't know yet. I mean, we're confident in your art. We've seen a lot of
Yeah.
it. It's super detailed, and we can say, yeah, absolutely. As far as the art goes, it's worth the investment as far as being a backer goes. But, based on the way you communicate, some of the things you've told about the story, and even some of the things that you're talking about, even just the concept of the character and how they came to be, I am confident that the story is going to be solid too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I wanted it to be a story that, despite like it being a lot of just, visually and aesthetically, it's just a lot of things I've been inspired by since I was a kid, all the way through adulthood, like all my different interests. I really wanted it to still be a relatable story to some degree. Like, yeah, they're big monsters. Yeah, it's in another planet. Yeah, there's all this weird angels and demons and creatures and things of that nature. But the focus is a family trying to survive, a dad and a mother doing their absolute best to let their kids just come out normal in a completely messed up place. So
Right.
like that's kind of the thing too, is like I think any adult that's had kids or been around kids or has brothers, anyone that knows anyone in life can sort of relate to some of those themes. And that's how you evoke emotion out of people. You can put 1,000 eyeballs in and make them go ew, but if you want to make them feel, if you want to make them really feel deep down in their gut, you got to go for things that there's not one person on planet Earth that can't kind of relate to. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, D and I have 5 boys between us, so we can definitely identify with the parenting aspect of this whole thing.
It's a
great,
couple-
amazing, man. Yeah.
it's-
And
it's
that's
a few
the
kids.
kind of stuff I like, like it's also I'm doing things that I like. I know some people are like, you gotta cater to, I don't want to say the lowest common denominator, but like the normie. And I'm like, you can, and I will on some things, but this thing is mine, and it's going to be exactly 100% what I want, or I'm not going to do it. There's no
Gotcha.
point otherwise. So this is definitely like something where I also knew there was a chance it would be too weird or it's not for everybody. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's maybe it is for everybody if everybody likes cool things, but it's not for everybody in the sense of it's out there and it's a little different, a little weird. But that's part of what makes it interesting. Like I like things that are interesting, whether it's body positions and artwork, whether it's themes. There's a scene in End of Evangelion where a god creature is kind of coming to life, and it just looks like a giant glowing woman. So you're like, oh, a giant glowing anime girl. That's not special. But then the body splits in two, and one half of it's just hanging off the back like a limp corpse, while the other half of it's leaning forward, tantalizing a character's brain. And the imagery is so weird and so strange, even though nothing violent or gross is happening. It's so unsettling and interesting that like that's where my mind is at.
Wow.
Things that make you uneasy, but you can't stop looking at them despite the fact that they're interesting. They're not shocking in a gross way. They're shocking in a weird, uncomfortable way because they look unnatural and strange. So like I take all that stuff into consideration all the time. My brain's always thinking, how can I make this the body language of things represent what I want it to? Because in my heart of hearts, this would be animated, so I could just show you, let you hear the sounds, let you see the movements of creatures being weird or strange, let you see how they do things being weird, make you unsettled. I don't have that ability right now because that's expensive endeavor to get into, but I can do the best I can with those same ideas in a comic book format and try to get your brain into the world that it's in and hear the sounds even if you can't really hear them. See the body language of characters, see the strangeness of all of it, and still evoke those same emotions that usually it takes barraging all your senses with to get there, you know.
Right. Well, as a visual medium, this is still another opportunity to do those things. And if you have the opportunity down the road to have an animated version, man, that would be phenomenal. You know, let's hope you get there.
I'm trying, man. I mean, I'm even working on it myself when I have a little free time, or say I'm just totally burnt on staring at a computer screen or an 11x17 sheet on my page that feels like it's never going to be finished because they're such huge pieces of paper to have to fucking fill up all the time.
Right.
But I really, like, my aspirations really are to have this thing be an animated show or movies or something down the road. It's just, once again, it has to be done to what I consider satisfactory, and I'm a control freak about this one project, this one thing.
Well, it's yours. So yeah, I don't blame you.
I don't know that anyone will ever put up with me long enough to let it be an animated series. So, you know, that's kind of how I look at it. There's never going to be like a director or some other person that I'm going to be like, I'll take their advice, but I'm never going to let them control what happens with it. You know?
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being on. You're welcome to hang out while we talk about the other campaign.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, and hope that this, prompts some more people to back. We've got a few more people to say hi to in the chat that have joined us while we were talking about Death. I see General Piggy has joined us. Thanks for being here.
What is up, General? How you doing?
Hey, Piggy.
Metal Movies and Bruce is here with us too.
What's up?
What's up, Mike?
He's another one who's provided an entry to the fan art contest for Projectile Reptiles. So wait till you see his piece. It's pretty good. It's definitely a contender.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. So now what I'm going to do is share screen for the other project, which is Frog G. Voodoo, Gods, and Magic.
Frog G.
So I'm going to go to here and add it to the stream, and here we are.
There it is. Yes. Frog G, Voodoo, Gods, and Magic. Man is turned into a frog by a voodoo priestess and is sent on a quest by Death himself to regain his humanity and get back the woman he loves. It's a fantasy epic tale. Spider-Man meets Hellboy. Inspired all ages comic that, fun for the whole family and adults and children alike. And we've got ink spots on it doing the color works, and I'm on the line art. And it's a true collaboration effort. I'll do some of the line foreground stuff like that, and I'll leave ink spots like plenty of playroom for the backgrounds or even some foreground stuff, and he'll do what I send it to him, and then he does what he does. He'll do color holds, or if he needs to do them, I like to keep my line art there, but if he has to, he does the color holds. But and he'll throw in backgrounds, he'll make up what's back there, and sometimes I'll send him stuff and like, all right, this will look cool with this kind of a background, and it's in my head. I don't tell him what to do. Like, Ink Spots does what Ink Spots does because he's good at what he does.
Yeah,
So
he's excellent. One of the best.
yeah, so I don't want to. We don't want to hinder each other. So I might have an idea in my head when I send it to him, and then I'll see it, and it'll be 180 degrees turned around, tripped on acid, better than what I could have thought. So yes, like Ink can tell you and show you some more things if he wants, or tell you more about Frog G. I can tell you how it came about after that. So yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to say is, going from Death to this one, we were talking eyeballs, and here we've got this creature that has these eye stalks, and it looks like mouths where the eyes would be, and then a cyclopean eye here. This is some crazy shit, man.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
that's Death. He originally Inkspots came up like I had drawn the Voodoo Priestess, and I sent it to him to color, and like I said, he'll take things, flip it, and make it. So in the background, he put in this creature, and initially it had like these moth wings on the side of its head, and it had eyeballs on its fingertips and stuff. And I was like, man, it's a little too Beetlejuicy in a way. So I was like, how about what if we, kind of like just make instead of eyeballs on his fingertips, they're kind of his teeth, and they come out, so he can like flip around and see that angle. And I was like, well, he's got eyeballs on his teeth and the third eye, so let's just get rid of the main two, so he can't really normally see, but he sees otherworldly. So like that's kind of like a symbolism there in a way.
So but this is another one that's kind of unsettling with some of the imagery.
Well, that's the thing though. It's like Hellboy meets Spider-Man. So like it is fantastical in that aspect as to where there are like morbid looking creatures, fantasy creatures, fairy Brothers Grimm type stuff. So there are monsters, but it's nothing that would, it's not horrifically graphic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like that's kind of scary, but he's Death. He's supposed to not look good. Yeah,
it's like what Joe was saying earlier. It's like it's a visually stunning, compelling piece. Like where it's like a little, it's strange. It's a strange visual, but you can't stop looking at it. Yeah, it looks dope. I like that design.
Do you have this page loaded up, Ink?
Yeah, I have the.
You have the full page because he has. All right, so this is if you should share his screen. It's actually because we had initially pages done, so he's showing down there. That's the actual page that he did. I drew the line art of.
You said
you just shares. You can just share his. You can make him bigger. Or kick him. One of the two.
One of the other.
Go now,
get out of here, Inkspots. Yeah, just make him bigger. There you go.
There we go. Sorry.
So yeah, this was like the second page we actually did. I drew like the lines, and then Inkspots, just colored it beautifully. Like that top panel's gorgeous. I love it. But he added that atmosphere, the lighting, everything, and made it gorgeous. So this is actually a page from the book, one of the second pages we drew. So yeah, and it turned out great. That atmosphere and everything.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
This is where it all started.
Yeah, this is where it started. This was Frog G, the mod. He hit me up. He backed a tier in my Absolute 2 campaign where you could become a trading card, a character from the book. And so he was like, I want to be a frog. Obviously, I'm Frog G. And, I drew it all up, sent it to him. He's like, yeah, it's pretty dope. And I was like, all right. So I sent it to Inkspots. Do you have can you turn off the color layers by chance? Or just so they can get a good idea of like what you do? Just see how much you do, I should say. Yeah, that's the opposite. But I mean, it gives you still a good idea.
Nice.
Give him time. He'll get there.
That's a lot of layers, man.
It's a lot of layers. So this is the line art. This is what I sent Inkspots. So, like I said, I was like, dude, do your thing. I initially pictured him jumping. So Inkspots was like, yeah, screw you, Jason. And he made it a lot better. So he did that. Yeah, so that's how we work, and that's how we've been working. I'll do line art, send it to Ink, and I won't we'll go over it in layouts, like, hey man, I might do this, or he might be like, I might do that. But for the most part, we just let each other roam free, and as long as the story is cohesive and flows, because we do plot it out together. So there's no surprises there. But
so yeah, Ink, I wanted to ask you, how much of the plot are you involved in? He said you plot it together. How much of this is actually yours?
We're like 100% both of us.
Okay.
Like I did a lot of research beforehand, like about because this book is basically he goes into the underworld to slay a god, and if he brings back an artifact from that god, death will turn him back human so that he can be with his woman again. And so everything in this underworld is a combination of Native American folklore. You got Celtic folklore. You got you got gods like Thor in there. You got voodoo culture in there. You got all these different things. We just took and just mashed them all together and made just like one thing of it. Like death isn't your typical shrouded death. I mean, our death is actually based on a Indian folklore where there was two warring tribes. There was an octopus tribe, and I forget what the other one was.
Was it
my brain stopped?
It was a bird
it was a
tribe.
bird, like a crow tribe,
Yeah.
and the octopus was a symbol of death, and it was actually a shrouded woman that was half octopus, half woman, and she was their symbol of death. So we took like that, and then we added like the traditional death to it, and then threw a bunch of fucking eyeballs on it too. So yeah,
Why not?
not?
Yeah, so, like Inkspots has been doing a lot of the legwork in that regard, because he'll toss me that idea, and I'll like scribble some stuff out and send it to him, or he'll scribble something down and send it to me. We do work really cohesively well together.
So we just like plot out like 10 pages at a time. Like we'll go in Discord and we have the basic story. We know the beginning, middle, and end, where the book's going to end. And then so we'll just go in, and then Jason will start thumbnailing. And then I'll go, yeah, let's do that. And then he goes, I can do it this way. And so we just like plot it out, and then he goes and does his thing and sends it to me. So it's a true collaboration. Like this is like we're really like throwing everything we have at this. We're both full-time, blue-collar working guys. So we're hoping this book will allow us to make more comic books. So we're just trying to, it's kind of a love thing. We love this book, and we're throwing everything we got at it to hopefully make it successful.
Yeah, you got another image you could show him.
Yeah, well,
Jason, while he's doing that, Jason, I wanted to ask you something about this. It sounded like you were headed there just a few minutes ago, where you talked about Frog G paying to be a character in your Absolute universe, and so you did that sketch of him. It sounded like you were going to tell us how this book came about.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's pretty much how it did come about, because he backed a tier, became a trading card, which is the card, that one right there. He became and we did that, and that was in Absolute Book 2. So that was just a trading card. Like you're not in Absolute Book, but you get that was the only way to get this trading card, was to back that campaign. Now, but everybody loved this trading card so much, this image, that like people were saying this needs to be a book. So we were having fans wanting this book, and like I'm not one to say no to the fans. So, and neither is Inkspots. So we were like,
to that end, you actually had a different project you were ready to go to after Absolute 2, weren't you?
And so did I. Yeah, we both had.
We both
different...
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we both had different projects we were gonna get doing. I have another Absolute story in mind. Inkspots has Metal Mayhem Rock Boy he's working on. So this we put them on hold, and we're like, we're going to do Frog G, because it's also an interesting, fascinating character with all the with the story that Ink developed and kind of came up with. So and just the image itself is fun to draw. I mean, we have fan art and stuff like that by him too that people have been doing. So, which if you sign up on the mailing list, you do some fan art on launch day, you can win a free book, by the way. So,
nice. Okay.
You also, if you sign up, you get a free wallpaper every month that we send to you for your phone, and this is this month's wallpaper.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was going to
be the cover.
That was going to be the cover. So there was another image I did that Ink liked more, and we on a live stream we even asked the chat which one would they prefer to be the cover. So in a way, the fans even picked the cover for Frog G.
Oh, nice.
So,
that's great.
Yeah, this is kind of like a fan-made book in a way, So, but that's how good the artwork we're putting into this is our top-tier stuff, because this was going to be a cover. And we were like, all right, well, we'll make it a wallpaper instead. But that's how good the wallpapers are, that they're good enough to be cover art. So, if that's just the wallpapers, imagine what you're going to get for the rest of the book. So,
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
This is our main big bad. His name is Cernunos. And he's basically the god that created all like folklore creatures. He took the other gods' creations and perverted them to make his own creatures. So he made vampires, he made dragons, he made all these different creatures, and then he got himself sent to the pit, to the underworld, and Frog G has to go and kill this guy, and this guy is kind of a badass. So,
and if you get the featured here with the supplemental, you get his story, like how he became the beast. So go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say on the story, there's no color, so I'm penciling it, doing the roughs, and Jason is doing finishes over my roughs. So we're both still working on the art. So this is what we're doing for the supplemental.
Yeah, this is the supplemental. So yeah, and like Inkspots will send me the roughs, the layout, and which is actually pretty tight layouts. I'm happy about that. And I'll go in. Sometimes I can't make sense of heads or tails of what's happening, so I'll make it up. But then I'll ink it. So there's still a collaboration in the supplemental on top of the regular book as well. But with this one being Inkspots, being the main featured artist on it. So we flipped it, and it's a fun way to let people see that ink can tell great stories and great panel work and stuff like that. So
right, yeah, he's an artist in his own right. Good job.
Yeah, Ink's a great illustrator. Not too many people know that because they see his colors. So yeah. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm fascinated by how you guys were able to join both of your talents together to create this, and I'm wondering, like, with the process that you guys are going through of making Frog G, has this idea played in your heads of like maybe continuing to work together, for example, for the next Absolute book or for the next project that Inkspots is working on?
Well, we came to work together because in this card right here, I said, Frog G had backed it, and there was another guy named Nefarious or Global Frequency, other people know him by. He backed it well, because there was two, and I wanted heavy hitters on my Absolute 2 campaign. So as far as colorists, because I had Dan Plagle, I had Christopher John, Luke Alietta, I had a lot of people on it, and I'm like, well, what about colorists? And when I drew this, I knew Inkspots from Cash Grab and Charlie's London, from the East Coast of the Limelight. So I loved his work, and I'm like, I really would love, because he's a painter style colorist. He's not that traditional comic colorist, and so I was like, I really want Inkspots to color something of mine. And so, and the other one was the Nefarious card was Matt Yackey. So I got Inkspots to color it, and once I did, I was like, yeah, I got to work with this cat. So, and as far as like future projects, Inkspots knows how to color my stuff. You know what I mean? Like because he's not a traditional comic colorist, but he can do it. But he's more or less of a painterly colorist, and that's what you kind of have to work with my nonsensical lines with, is more of a painterly style. And he did talk to me about Absolute, coloring some Absolute stuff. Absolute is more of a black and white book. Now, that's not to say there can't be some color stuff in the future, or maybe I want to go with like a certain style, and I know Ink can do any style that I would want him to do. The main thing is, when Ink and I work together, we really like it to be like a 50-50, because with Frog G, it's actually it's 50-50. It's actually 45 Inkspots, 45 me, 10% goes to Frog G himself.
We actually gave him a percentage of the character. So
yeah, so Frog G is getting 10% of anything and everything that comes out related to it, whether it be offshoot books, movies, deals, games,
any characters that he wasn't even involved in, he gets 10%. So like if Absolute comes out, that's more my baby. So I mean, I wouldn't mind hiring Ink to do it, but if he can make more money going a route like of doing his own thing or something else, I would rather him do that. Yeah, we both have stuff planned, and Frog G kind of came along.
Yeah.
And if this does really well, there's just going to be a lot more Frog G is what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And we will continue to work. The main thing is just it's always money, because we both have to have full-time jobs right now. So if this does really well, that's going to allow us, and we see that it hits pretty decent, we'll be like, all right, we're going straight on to Frog G Book 2. If it doesn't hit real well, it may be, he goes on to maybe like his Samurai Ninja character, and I go and do Metal Mayhem Rock Boy, and then we come back to Frog G a little bit later. So It just depends on how the campaign plays out. Yeah.
And not only, and if this does really well, let's say it does well enough, we do Frog G2, that does so well that we can stop the 9 to 5 gig, just do comics. Then we could do like Frog G3, as well as I could do Absolute Samurai Priest, and he could do Metal Mayhem Rock Boy. We could put out 2 to 3 campaigns a year. So, that's why, like, yes, more projects with Ink and me, depending on what happens really after this. So yeah, comics are what we love, and it's what we want to do for a living.
I hear you.
Yeah. So yeah.
I signed up for the mailing list like a few days ago for this, and but yeah, I'm sold on it. I'm going to get that Frog G. Looks really great. I love that marriage of yours artwork. It's really good.
Since you signed up for the mailing list, what you get is you get an exclusive all foil card. You get a day one discount on the regular tier, as well as we're going to give a pretty decent discount on one of the bigger tiers. You also get entered into a raffle where if you get picked for that, you will win an upgraded tier. So you'll get the highest, pretty much like the main, like $200 tier or whatever. You're going to get that for free. You get upgraded for free if you get picked. What else? If you do fan art for Frog G, you may get picked for that, and you get another free book just for if we like your fan art. So, or if
you also get before we go live, you'll get a preview of the first 6 pages of Frog G written and lettered, as well as the first 5 pages.
5 pages of the supplemental.
So you're getting 6 things free if you sign up for the mailing list.
Sign up, everybody. Yeah,
we're kind of going at a different route. We're putting all the promotion into just the sign up. So we're hoping we'll have a big day one, fund on day one, and then we can just spend the rest of the time trying to make some profit. So.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have
where are you launching, guys?
September 17th.
September 17th. And what show?
We're going to be launching at noon on Red Valkyrie. Hopefully, I haven't booked it yet, but hopefully we'll be closing the day out on Bancroft. I have to make arrangements. But then, here's the good thing about this. Since Inkspots and I, we're both, creators on the book, he can be on other streams during the day, and I can be on other streams promoting, so we could branch off. We have to both be on the same promo stream. So it'll be a good tactical advantage that we'll have.
A lot of coverage.
Not only that, we'll have Frog G that could be in a totally other stream, every once in a while popping his link in there. He's getting money,
remember, he's one of the fans, and he doesn't have to do nothing. And he just gets money if we make a profit.
Yeah.
So.
You just got to sit pretty. Sit there and look pretty.
It's a form of appreciation, though, because he is definitely one of the link masters. As one of the creators that he's constantly dropping my links, I have to say I truly appreciate his contributions.
Yeah.
Funny thing was, when I drew that first image, me being the moron that I am, forgot to put a wrench in it. So that image right there, he's like, yeah, man, it's cool. He's like, but how about we give him a wrench? And I'm like, Jason, you're an idiot. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll give him a wrench.
And that gave us even more things because he's a mechanic and he gets cursed by the Voodoo princess. But when he goes on his quest to kill this god, all of his equipment that he had with him gets enchanted. So all these tools do different things. His drop light has different enchanted powers. His screwdriver may turn into a giant sword, flaming sword. His wrench may attract lightning like Thor's hammer. So he has all these enchanted things that he doesn't know how to use. He doesn't know how to use these things, and he learns as he's going through the underworld, and he meets all these different creatures and all these all it has to pass certain tests to get further and further through the underworld. So it's
like I said, it's a fun fantasy epic tale, and like Inkspots will be playing with the coloring and the lighting. Like the first few pages I did with microns, they're a little tighter, and as I get through the chaotic stuff, I'm going to start pen and ink, dip, and just like if splatters happen, they happen, and get messy and fun. So like we're both like to use the tools that we have at hand.
Yeah, and like some pages I go crazy with the backgrounds, and some pages are not about realistic backgrounds. They're about the mood of the character and stuff. Right. So I get to throw a lot more texture in it and get more creative, more abstract. So we get to do a lot of fun stuff that we like.
Yeah, we're having fun with it. So and plus we're putting a lot of work into it. So it's a good time. And I just actually today finished page 8. And uploaded it. Inkspots will be coloring in that soon. So we're moving along. I'm hoping to have 15 to 20 pages totally done by the time we launch. That's my goal.
That's a good number. I mean, you'll be able to show then the kind of passion you've got for it, what kind of work we'll see in it, and things like that. So yeah, that works.
Yeah, because once here's the like Inkspot said, we're both blue collar working cats. So once we get home from work, it's either eat, do whatever we gotta do there for like maybe 2 hours, and then jump right into the artboard for another 4 to 6 hours. So it's work, eat, work. So it's like it's nonstop. So yeah, so we're devoting all of our free time to this.
Excellent.
It's
Well,
the
that's
only
one of the
way
things
you
that-
get ahead with this stuff is you have to sacrifice
Yep.
a lot of time early
Yeah.
on so that down the road you can do projects without tight deadlines and just enjoy your life. But
You're
Yep.
right.
part
Absolutely
of the
right.
deal.
And that's not to say we don't. Like, there will be like a day maybe Ink's like, hey, I'm spending it with the wife, cool, and I'm like, hey, I'm watching TV with mom today. I'm sorry guys, I'm not working. Family time is important. So yeah.
You absolutely deserve that time, and that's a priority for a lot of us. So I hear you. Listen,
Yeah,
guys, we
definitely.
are at the top of the hour, but before we go, I wanted to show you something that Elliott has done for Dojo Kun Comics. So just give me a second here. I'm going to stop sharing that and then show you. You see
Man, the
now,
hour went by quick.
They usually do.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, that is cool stuff too, man. I mean, that book's
Yeah.
insanity. I don't know how Joe does that, man. I have no idea how you do it.
Oh, it's slowly killing me. But it's all right.
That's how you do it. That's how you do
slowly
it.
killing me.
That's how you do it.
The way you have to live life to do this much work is just not ideal. I don't suggest it to anybody at all.
Yeah, I was really curious about that. Also, I don't know if I could squeeze one more question in, but how long does it take you guys to do a page, or how many? Jason, you mentioned like 4 to 6 hours a day. Is that like an everyday thing, or?
It's not an everyday thing. It's a goal. It's 4 to 6 hours, something like get into.
Okay.
I could do a page a day, no problem, no matter how much detail is in it. Whether it be 4 hours to one page or 12. It all depends on what the content of the page is. I would say maximum would be 14 hours would be a page at max. Ink?
Yeah, for me, I mean, a page can be, especially if it's just a splash page, 4 hours, or it can be. I've had pages that took me 14 hours or more. Like if it's like a big 2-page splash, maybe I'll take 2 or 3 days on it just because I do a little extra than a regular colorist would do. So and maybe too much detail too.
So that final work looks so good. Like
Yeah.
you gotta feel like after you're done with those pages with the extra little oomph, like it was worthwhile because it just popped.
Yeah, for me as a colorist, colorist is, they're kind of because of the industry and the speed that it has to be done, they're kind of a cookie cutter kind of thing in comics. Like everyone kind of colors the same way, and I want to be like, I want colorists, and there's quite a few colorists in CG that are like this, where you look at their work and like, oh, I know exactly who colored that. And that's cool because that means they have a certain style and they're not just a cookie cutter representation of what's been out there before. Like they're not still doing color the exact same way they did in the 1990s, or they've put their own style, whether it be their choices of colors or how they render or whatever. People can actually tell a colorist style, and I think that's cool. And also I like what Jason and I are doing because I get to actually draw and paint in the background. He leaves me room to do what I need to do. I don't have to, even if I sometimes I'll get a panel and I don't like the background or whatever, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And then I got to color it. So it gives me a little more room working like this. And that's more the kind of projects I'm going to work on in the future, is where I have a little bit of say in it.
Clearly Jason knows you're high tier in terms of color, and artists don't mind when high tier people tweak their work because it's going to look amazing in the end. Like there's a trust factor with other people that do really good work where you don't have that fear or that anxiety of them doing something you don't like or messing something up or taking something away that has to be there. And that's a good thing, like that's kind of when I was trying to find a colorist, because originally I didn't want to color my own book. for obvious reasons. And it just nobody would take the advice when I would say, like, look, man, don't let the lines scare you. Just use them as a guide. Make the final work look as pretty as you can. I'm not concerned with every line I draw being there. Just make sure it looks really good. And like, it was just like bad result after bad result, and it sucked because it was from guys that I know are really good. I just think they were just scared to listen to me and blur out those lines. I don't care. Just make sure it looks awesome.
Yeah.
So eventually I was like, I guess I'll just do this myself. But man,
But also
one of these days I got to get you to at least do one piece for me.
Yeah. A good colorist too also tries to, like, you got to have respect for the guy that came before you, because that's his part in the page. So you're like, you sometimes you have to color hold something or something, but you don't do it unless it's absolutely necessary. For me, it's like if it's going to pop the character out from the background, if there needs to be separation, or if there needs to be a change to make the story read. That's why when you're even when you have a colorist, you should still send him a script so he knows what's going on in that page, and then he can do his best work. Because I have a lot of people that don't, when I wish to color stuff, I would have no idea what was going on, and it's like, can you just send me the script, and then I know the story and I know what I'm trying to convey, either in feeling or background or what I need to do. So yeah, that's a big thing too.
I pulled up on the screen here the comment that Rick Saylor made, and he's talking about Elliott's piece here, which is the one on the left. That one there is a cover he did for me. That is, it features Insect 1, 2, and 3. It's 3 generations of the mercenary insect. The first one there is sort of like looking on. He's passed on, so he's sort of like looking down on them, and the other 2 are in action there on that cover. That's going to be a cover. It says of Deanna Hammer of the Angels. It may be a cover for Siamese 2. We're going to have to see, because this is the villain variant cover. So we'll see what works best there. Awesome. And on the right is a Dan Dahl version of Deanna, where she's demonized. I can't say venomized because venom's not mine, but she's a demon in that one. She's got claws and like crackling marble skin, and with like shards and a thorn tail going on. So
Elliott and Dan Dahl, good lord, you're getting,
I know, right?
Just getting all the fucking top dogs around.
Those are great.
I got super lucky with both of these guys, who are really, certainly they've been artists of their own right, but they're really starting to make a splash in the indie comics network, and I'm glad I grabbed them when I did, because who knows if I could afford them later.
Yeah, awesome. No, man, I'll always be available for CGN. No problem, man.
Yeah, you bet.
To do that.
And then,
that's great.
Real quick, I also want to, let's see here, do this, and sorry guys. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so StreamYard, share screen. One more thing before we go, and that is to share the sign-up page for Projectile Reptile. Because that is coming up soon. I'm launching on August 13th on Bancroft's show, which is Saturday at 9 p.m. If you sign up, you'll get links to 2 different discount tiers, one of the book, and then one of the higher end tiers, if that's your fancy. And also, too, if you're one of the first 100 backers, I'm gonna see if I can do this and solo myself out here, but can I?
Yes, you can.
You can solo yourself.
I can, but the live button is like above.
Oh,
you know what?
sharing.
I can move me
there you
and
go.
then do it.
Too.
So yeah, if you're one of the first 100 backers, you get this. This is a magnet.
6
It's 6 a.m. As you can see
nice.
easily. Yeah, as the projectile reptile, and as you can see, it's pretty big. I mean, it's like the size of your hand. So I love that it came out. I got all of them sitting right here. So first 100 backers get that for free.
That's pretty cool, man.
Sweet.
Beautiful.
Dude, I would love to do a Frog G magnet that has like a list. It's a magnet, and it can be like a grocery list where they can write, get milk or whatever. That'd be awesome.
Great idea, yeah.
With a dry erase.
Dry erase. So I was thinking.
Yeah, very cool idea. I like it. All right, guys. So I'm going to do what Jason said a minute ago, and that stop sharing so we can just look at everybody here. And what we'll do is we'll go round robin real quick, and we're going to start with you, Jason, since you're on the top left there. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find me here on the Twitters at Unhinged Dent. You can find me at Unhinged on YouTube's. Tuesday nights at 9:15. Luke and I switch for Topicless. It'll be on Luke's channel next week, though. And also, July 9th, Red Valkyrie art auction on Shay's channel, or Size of Shay's channel, the Red Valkyrie. I will be 11 to 2 a.m. I will be auctioning off, for the first time ever, we'll be selling a Frog G piece. If that goes well, we'll have a couple Frog G pieces for sale, plus then one of my own. So, to raise money for the variant cover artists. So, and yes, we pluralize that. So if you watched my stream earlier, you'll find out why. So find me there and check out the art auction July 9th on Red Valkyrie.
Awesome. We'll be there. All right, Joe, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Comic Art Master 1, or just search Joe Ball King Toad, and you'll find it either way. I'm on YouTube as Joe Ball, same King Toad logo on that. I'm John Joseph Ball on Instagram, John Joseph Ball on TikTok. You can find Death on Indiegogo, and we also have just launched the mailing list for Swarm, which is going to be part of King Toad's Hero Universe. Elliott has a piece on that as well.
Awesome.
We'll be in Anime Matsuri in Houston, Texas at the end of July. We'll be at Nick Ricada's booth, boothing up with him. So if you want to see us, come down there to Nick's booth. We will be there. We'll have Ashcan previews of Death, of Swarm, of the Mothman book we already published, and of Doku at Dawn, which is like our all ages kitty book. So we'll have all kinds of Ashcans, King Toad merchandise, bags, shirts, mechanical pencils, keychains, prints, all kinds of junk, stickers. So we'll have a little bit of everything. And we'll be there, and then we have our own King Toad booth at the Cincinnati Comic Book Expo. Cincinnati's our hometown, and we'll be going big for the hometown area. We'll have a bunch of guests there on behalf of the company. They don't work for us necessarily, but they're friends of the company and of us. So you'll see probably Phil Diaz will be there as well to booth up with us. We'll have a lot of CG people around, and just come out and see us if you can. We'll try to set up more conventions as time goes on, but that's
Cincinnati is within striking distance of me.
Okay, man. Yeah.
I'm up in the thumb of Michigan, so I could probably make my way down there.
No, Michigan. Oh no, Dojo, we're not allowed to get along now.
I know. You Buckeyes aren't supposed to even talk to us.
Oh my God. It's ingrained to us from the time we're born. It's so weird. Like you come out of the womb and people are like, you don't associate with nobody from Michigan. It's like, okay, I'll try, but kind of like us are everywhere. So good luck with that.
Right. All right. So let's ask Inkspots now. Where can we get to you?
Twitter's pretty much my hub of operations, so you can follow me on Twitter at MyEvilRobot, and you can get all the updates. You can find my YouTube channel, all that stuff from there. So
okay, Elliott, how about you?
Cool.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. The handle is right here. You can see Nigma85, and I'm also on Twitter. I'm mostly active on Twitter. And I've also recently started a YouTube channel, and I just do drawing videos as I'm working on different fan art and stuff. And so you can check me out at any of those sites, and just hit me up whenever you guys can.
Fantastic. So those of you who are here in the chat and those of you watching later, we thank you very much for being here. The chat is so important to us. If you could please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications the next time a video from Dojo Kun Comics drops. Thanks, everyone.
Later.